Questing Beast is the name of the band, and we're going to talk to them in a moment. They are in studio with us. Welcome, everybody. This is Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious Manchester, New Hampshire. And, of course, you can also stream the show. Go to mattconnerton.com/live for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Saturday, October 19, 2024. And we've got a big show for you today. We have Questing Beast. Second hour, we've got Temple Mountain is coming back. Third hour, we have Dead by Wednesday. Lots of... today is action-packed. So Jenny is not here with me this week, but she'll be back next week. But without further ado, joining us in studio, here is Shane and Jane from Questing Beast. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
So is it just the two of you? Is this the band? Is the two of you?
No, so as far as right now, our full band, we also have Jane's older brother Joe is our singer.
Oh, okay.
And then we have a drummer who's not related to any of us, but he's kind of like having a grandpa and an uncle in the same person.
Okay. What does that mean? Elaborate, if you would. I mean, we're not in the South, so this, I'm confused.
Well, he's fun and goofy like your uncle.
Okay.
But in many ways is very old like your grandpa.
Okay, that makes sense. Gotcha.
And that's Christian. Yeah. He's great.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal drummer too.
Phenomenal drummer.
Well, very good. So what do you each do in the band?
We both play guitar.
You both play guitar. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And you've got a big show tonight. We should plug that right off the top. You're going to be playing at Terminus.
Correct, yeah, Nashua.
With, let's see, Dead Harrison, the Negans, the Grey Curtain, Horror, and Able Blood.
Yes.
All great bands. Actually, out of all those bands, so the Negans, we have not had them on the show yet, but everyone else has been on the show.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, we had the Grey Curtain, Horror, and Able Blood. Geez, was that last week? It becomes a blur. But yeah, all great bands, and Able Blood has actually been on the show a few times now.
We played our first gig with them.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh, with Able Blood?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That song, Titan's Grip, and we'll play more later, but really takes you on a journey. You know,
absolutely.
Lots of cool changes in it, and very, very complex. But let me start with this, because I kind of have a little bit of an idea just from Googling Questing Beast. But what is that? What is Questing Beast? Where does the name come from?
So the name comes from Arthurian legend. I saw it on a magic card and I was like, that's epic. That's an epic name. It's a great name for a band. And I did some research, found out it's from the Arthurian legend, read the legend, was like, I don't want to write that story. That story's been written and it's got nothing to do with anything that I want to write music about. So I came up with a different story that's kind of about the birth of the Questing Beast. So I gave it like its own origin story and everything.
Okay.
And I basically had that outline, and then we sort of wrote songs based on where we thought it would fit, like within the storyline.
So the story came first, and then the songs came based on the story?
Yes.
I think that the only song that may not be true for is Call of the North, because that was the first one that we wrote.
Oh.
And we had just gotten together and we're like, oh yeah, big riffs, here we go.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that song specifically, I was like, what does this make me feel like? I was like, it makes me feel like I'm actually going on like a long expedition somewhere. So it felt to me like that one specifically, I was like, this is about going to a place. So like Call of the North seemed like a good name, you know?
Okay. But the rest of the songs are based on the story or the outline of the story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did the story change at all?
Oh yeah.
You know, as you're writing these songs, I can see how that might happen, where as you're writing them and they kind of evolve and form, the story itself changed as well?
Oh yeah, and the story is still changing. The idea is that we want this to be like a trilogy.
Oh, okay.
And so like we're constantly thinking about, like still analyzing like the first album even to be like, you know, how does this dictate where we go in the second album, you know? And it's a really interesting way to write, but it is also, I mean, I understand why like all the Game of Thrones books aren't done, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just doing it with an album. This is like 9 pages of text maybe, you know?
Yeah.
Lots of writing.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And the songs themselves are complex. Is that the most challenging part of it? Is creating the music to go with the story?
So, kind of, because the story dictates so much of what like our musical decision making is.
Yeah.
And not just lyrically, right? Lyrics is an entire other realm of added layers of description to the story. The music itself is so dictated by what we're trying to convey in each song as a story point.
Okay.
That the music itself, so you say it sounds like going on a journey, and that's because the music itself is telling a huge bit of story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not every song is telling so much as far as information goes, but it's so much world building, and we're trying to convey so many little nuanced emotions and basically explaining something through music.
Mm-hmm.
So it came out, everything was just so much challenge. Like, we would get something down, we felt like it explained what we wanted to do, then we'd listen to it and be like, well, this doesn't sound amazing musically.
Okay.
So we have to change it now to sound amazing musically, but now we feel like it doesn't convey what we wanted to say in the story.
Yeah.
So you can see how, if you're not careful, we would go back to the drawing board on either the music or the story too many times, to where like sometimes we had to stop and just like fall back. Some stuff happened naturally. This song being one of them. I didn't want to write this song.
What do you mean?
I didn't want to write this song because we already had, I think we had
6 songs.
Yeah, we had 6 songs, and I felt like it was good. You know, with the addition of the 2 instrumentals on the album, it would have been 8 songs, right? No. It would have been...
With the instrumentals.
Oh, we wrote
songs.
2 more after that, right? Because then we wrote Beneath Red Leaves, too. But yeah, I didn't want to write this song because I just felt like, okay, we're good. We've written enough. This is our first album. And I actually remember sitting down with a little bit of what he wrote, and just everything became so complex so quick, and I was angry the whole time I wrote it.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it, this is going to be so complex.
Oh, this is awesome.
Right.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I would imagine too. You see, I've played in a lot of bands, but nothing.
Sure.
I never played in anything like this. You know, every band I ever played in, it was, you know, verse, chorus, your standard thing.
Yeah.
And so I've always been kind of fascinated by, just what must go into writing the songs and then learning the songs and then rehearsing the songs.
Yeah. Writing and learning are definitely 2 different things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah. You must have to rehearse quite a bit, right? For the live
for
shows,
sure.
because
Every week
you've got to be if you're a punk band and you're playing 3 chords and you make a mistake, nobody even notices.
Right.
But with what you're doing, if somebody makes a mistake, it's probably hard to even hide that, right?
Yeah, there's certain points in different songs where it's almost like you're like surfing on a razor's edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if you fall off, it is not easy to get back on.
I can imagine. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We also have like the added challenge of not having a live bass player right now.
Okay.
So our drummer plays to a click track. And
Yeah.
so we have like bass tracks at the moment.
Yeah.
But it allows us to do cool things, like it automatically like switches out the synth patch that we're using as we're playing and stuff like that. So
oh wow.
it allows us to like use all these different synths that we made for the record live too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. Recording and learning and playing are just whole 3 separate things for this.
Yeah.
Recording is so bit by bit, sentence by sentence, basically. If you think about it in terms of writing a story, it's like writing sentence by sentence, let alone lyrics. I don't even get in on lyrics. I'm more on the music side of things.
Yeah.
I contributed 1 lyric to this whole album, truly. And so yeah, like writing it just is so intensive. And it took us 2, almost 3 years to just write this. Any music that we're going to write that's expanding on this is going to take us probably a similar time frame.
Yeah.
But then learning it is like, okay, now that we have the finished product and all the riffs are what they're going to be and all the orders of everything is pretty much decided on, now try to learn all that while standing up, switching effects, and doing backing vocals. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I can't, we have to figure out, delegate who's going to play what sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes we need to put something in a backing track because there's too many parts.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that. So it's a whole puzzle, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the beginning of Titan's Grip. We don't hire 3 dudes to come up and play that harmony at the beginning.
Right.
Would be great. We don't have it like that.
Yeah. So who plays bass on the studio tracks? Does one of you do that, or?
No, so we got a guy, his name's Chase Bryant. He plays in a band called Warbringer. They're like a LA thrash band.
I was going to say, yeah, I've heard
awesome.
of Warbringer.
Yeah, they're great. I love them.
Shouts out Chase, nicest guy, amazing bass player. Played the whole album on fretless bass in 2 days.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yes.
finger
Wow.
style. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
He's a
Absolute monster.
absolute
Yeah.
monster, absolute great guy. Super happy to have him just doing his thing. It was awesome.
That's another thing that I'm always impressed, because I'm a bass player. So,
Oh, right
but,
on.
but I've never played a fretless, and that always impresses me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when I tell them that he's playing fretless on it, they can't even tell because it's just so in tune.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our friend Lacey, who I am in the chat room, says that's why so much can be lost in studio work. So clinical. I see Jenny is in there as well. Hello, good morning. So when you do you play these live before you record them, or do you?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay, so you don't go into the studio and then once that's done, start playing them live, or
No.
Well, we like demo out all the tracks.
Yeah.
So we've got Ableton on my computer at the practice space.
Yeah.
And we just record on that, the demo version.
Okay.
Send that off to the studio that we actually want to record at. We went to Mad Oak Studio in Alston and recorded with Benny Grotto,
Okay.
who did a great job.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
Shout out to
everything sounds amazing. Yeah.
But so sometimes we kind of play it live before we put it into the demos, but most of the time we get the demos done. We get that to a point where we like it, and then that's when we start the learning process.
Okay.
And then we go in and record for realsies.
Yeah.
and
yeah.
go into the big boy studio.
Yeah.
But I forget what her name was, but who said something about studios being clinical and
Oh,
there can be
yeah,
something-
Lacey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lacey. So there's definitely, I think, one or two. There's certain things that I think can be kind of sporadic when you're like actually composing and stuff like that, and there's certain things that are like difficult to replicate non-spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's a version of the Corruption solo that I had a long time ago that I kind of wish I had still had for, like, it was just a specific recording where I was like in my room with the amp and it was like super feedbacky.
Yeah.
And it sounded terrible, but awesome because of how, like, I don't know, raw it sounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, it's always like very minute details like that. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, this song is ruined because we recorded in a good space. You know?
Right. No, that makes sense. How many hours do you think? Probably hard to put a number on it, but like just learning to play one of these songs proficiently. I mean, that's.
I can tell you, I don't know about all the songs. I mean, some of them are easier than others.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that the Beneath Red Leaves
Red
solo,
Leaves, yep.
the Beneath Red Leaves solo specifically took me so long. I probably every day leading up to going in to play that in the studio for like 2 weeks at least, spent like 2 hours a day just like ripping through that thing trying to get it down.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. that song taught me how to play rhythm guitar differently.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. I play that song differently and more efficiently than I did when we went and recorded it. It taught me like deficiencies in how I played certain things.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So talk about a learning process. Like
Yeah.
I learned the song, but then I kept learning from it for about a year to where I am now with it.
Yeah.
Same with him, honestly. Like it informs us so much about our ability, because you can write something, right, piece by piece, and you can make a demo. And then when you go to play it all at once, all the way through, you really like find out about yourself. You know?
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, going from playing all this rhythm to lead, and he's, you know, playing all the lead, and it's crazy. So
Wow. Yeah. Have you ever written something where or just had an idea where you you maybe you record it and everything, so you're committed to it, and then you kind of have a moment where you go, geez, I don't know, I'm kind of regretting this one a little bit.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
All the time.
Oh yeah. We're
Really?
yeah. We edit super hard. We cut things that we don't like and try and make it work better.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that we really want to focus on going forward is like, I don't know, just getting better at making sure everything fits together well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not that I don't think that the stuff on the first record fits together well, song by song, but I think that there's always room for improvement.
Sure. Sure. And how important is it to you as players when you play live to replicate exactly, like, do you try to replicate exactly note for note what's on the recordings, or do the songs breathe a little bit, or how does?
There's not really a lot of breathing room. There's a lot of very specific harmony that's going on and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So and that's not to say that there aren't places where we could incorporate some.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd say as far as note choice, it's never different. As far as certain stylistic things, we goof off a little bit here and there. But we're still playing pretty much what's written.
Okay.
And almost, I'd say 99%.
Yeah. Okay. If you're just joining us, we have Questing Beast here with us live in studio on this Saturday morning, and I think we should play another track. I'd love to hear another one. So we'll play this At Crater's Edge.
Oh yeah.
What should we know? Anything we should know about this specifically before we hear it? Or?
No, I want people in the comments to try and guess what the footsteps are.
Okay.
What's making that sound, people?
Okay. All right. So, well, that's a clue then. So they're not actual footsteps?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Pay attention. Listen closely, everybody. All right. So this is Questing Beast, and this song is called At Crater's Edge. That is At Crater's Edge by Questing Beast. We have 2 members of the band. There's those footsteps again. All right, where do the footsteps come from? Oh, I can't. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I just hadn't started yet.
I thought it looked like your mouth was moving. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't unmute the mic.
I was trying to think of how I wanted to approach the answer.
Gotcha. I didn't see any guesses in the chat room. So,
well, it came from a box of rocks. What you're hearing is a box of rocks.
Really?
Cardboard box with a bunch of rocks inside of it. It's some advanced studio equipment.
Oh,
yeah.
Very good. Very good. Let's see. In the chat room, Hans Smith from the band Sepsis was saying that the instrumentals make him feel like he's on an adventure on the sea.
Oh,
very nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lacey says a strong Queensryche vibe.
Thank you.
Right on.
Is that one of your influences, Queensryche?
I wouldn't say
No.
specifically, but love Queensryche.
Yeah.
And that's a huge compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I saw somebody else in here too. Oh, B. Pinard is in the chat room. Big supporter of the show. Hello. Nice to see you in there. And also Miriam Banish joins us in the chat room. Yeah, tell me more about influences. I imagine, a lot of prog and really complex stuff for both of you. I would guess.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna do a quick top 5.
Yeah.
So for me, like my favorite 2 bands are Death Clock and Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And so I feel like my guitar playing is kind of like somewhere in between those 2 sort of bands. But outside of that, Baroness is great. Mastodon as well. Both of those bands, I think, were actually very influential to me throughout the writing process of this first one, just as far as their ability to take these big sprawling concepts, like from start to finish on these records,
Yeah.
in their own ways. And I guess I have to think of, I said 5.
You did say 5. Yeah.
There is another one. I know for sure there's another one. I don't know, just various. There's lots of stuff, to be honest with you. I'm all over the place as far as like listening to like technical death metal and like all these various things.
Yeah.
Jane, why don't you take over while I think of what a definitive 5
Sure.
is?
I'd say early on when I first started getting into progressive music was high school, and my big 3 would be Dream Theater, Rush, and Porcupine Tree.
Okay.
And just as far as progressive music goes, and I was in a band in high school where we didn't cover any Dream Theater, but that was my aspiration. I was in a band with this guy, Adam Susi, amazing drummer. Shouts out Adam Susi. And we just covered these prog songs, and that's a huge influence on me. I religiously listened to Dream Theater, Rush. I grew up on Rush. My mom introduced me to Rush when I was really young.
Yeah.
And then the heavier side of things, I started to get into, like, I started off with some like metalcore bands. I think my earliest like real heavy band influence was a band called As Blood Runs Black.
Okay.
An old metalcore band. But I started to really get into more technical death metal and stuff like that when I got into college. But I come from a very diverse background. Like, I was a jazz musician growing up, and I love hip hop. I made a lot of hip hop too. So I
Really?
yeah, for sure. And that was a humongous portion of my education in music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was all those influences. So huge love for hip hop, huge love for technical death metal. I'd say the band that really bridged the gap for me when I was young between all that prog stuff and the more heavy stuff was a band called Born of Osiris.
Oh, nice.
And that's when I learned about like Jason Richardson as a guitar player and started to kind of, all my favorite shredders played the same guitars now. And, really got into a lot of that stuff. So huge influence on me, those guys, John Petrucci, obviously, but
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought of my number 5.
Okay.
It's definitely Warbringer.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Good
Yeah,
choice.
I don't know why that took me so long.
Well, it's early. Very good, very good. If you are just joining us, of course, we do have Questing Beast here with us live in studio, and they're playing a big show tonight. Of course, our friends at Terminus Underground in Nashua. Let's see. This is the show has a specific name. The Haunted Halloween. Oh, Hallowed and Haunted.
Yes,
Want to make
that's
sure
the one.
Want to make sure I got the name right. Yeah, Terminus is a great place. Have you been there yet?
No, not yet.
I tell everybody the same thing. When you walk in, it's like walking into a different world. When you walk into that room specifically,
Oh, I'm stoked.
it's really cool.
Apparently, they're decorating it all up and stuff.
Oh,
Or they
okay.
were last night and everything. So it should be all good to go now. So it's going to look awesome in there tonight.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's going to be tonight. Questing Beast along with Dead Harrison, the Negans, the Grey Curtain Horror, and Able Blood. Tickets are $20. You can get them. You have to go to midnightcreativescollective.com. Tickets are available there. And that is, show starts at 8 p.m. So,
Thanks.
I think show starts at 6.
oh, does it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I think doors are 6.
No,
oh,
doors are 5
oh,
o'clock.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah,
All
you're
good.
right. Doors are 5. Yeah.
Music
No,
starts at 6,
No,
and that's
it's good you corrected me because, yeah, we don't want people showing up there late.
At least one of us is paying attention.
you're welcome.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a lot of bands, so it's good that it's starting early. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And we're actually opening this one, which is nice.
Oh, you are, yeah.
Which is nice because we'll be able to get there, set up immediately, and then hang out forever.
Do you? That's right. Is there? Do you have a complex setup?
Yeah, I mean, so all 4 of us do vocals, and
Yeah.
then we've got the computer that our drummer triggers all the tracks from and everything.
Yeah.
it's kind of a pain.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I mean-
it's a pain for us. I mean, if we cut out a vocal, it would still just be 3 vocals and then a few XLRs to the house. But it's more of a pain for us than it should be more of a pain for us than any sound guy, or
Yeah.
girl. But
That has not
currently.
been the case so far.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can see how. Yeah, I can imagine. And I think usually when it's a band with kind of a a really complex, sophisticated sound, there's usually more to it. Like I said, compared to say, for example, just a punk band.
Yeah, sure.
Right. When we get booked on gigs like that, we do feel a unique kind of pressure, especially if we're right in the middle of the bill.
Oh yeah.
Just because, and it's not like we're not quick, and it's not like we haven't done this before,
Yeah.
And I couldn't have streamlined. I set up our Ableton session that has the click track, that has all of our synths on it, that has all of the bass tracks on it, and we have some simple stuff. We just have to run cables to the house. That's it. We have to set up all the hard stuff.
Right.
And it's a huge brain puzzle for me, to troubleshoot stuff in real time
Yeah.
if anything's wrong, and then also set up my own guitar stuff and my own microphone and make sure I can hear myself and all that good stuff.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen where something goes wrong on the tech end and you gotta, like you said, troubleshoot on the spot in real time?
Thankfully, it's pretty funny. I think we have 90% of those issues at home
Yeah.
when we're practicing,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Good. Yeah. Well, that's how it should go. Yeah.
And I think it's all set up at this point so well, as far as like something really tragic would have to happen to move the click track so it's not in the right spot or something like that, you
Yeah.
know. So I think we've got it pretty solid at this point.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
I think there's also, like I said, there's always improvements to be made, especially once you start thinking about gear. I mean, that's an endless rabbit hole that'll leave you homeless if you go too far.
Yep. Well said. Now what is so this album here, this has not been out that long, right? This is relatively new?
Yeah, it came out in June.
In June. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
New to everybody else.
Yeah. Are you already thinking about the next one in terms of are you already writing for it or?
Yeah. I mean, we're always writing. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, we play guitar. I play guitar personally at least like 3 hours a day is a bad day for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm writing on accident. you know.
Yeah.
And then we're also writing on purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
That too.
Right.
At least once to a couple of times a week right now. We're definitely back in the shop.
Yeah. This is like going to be our last show, I think, for this year.
Yeah.
And we'll have a bunch of stuff to announce for next year, obviously, and everything when the time comes. But
Sure.
we're gonna take this like hibernation time. I think is like a nice writing period. Just to kind of hang out and not necessarily even think about the first record for a little bit.
Right.
Maybe play it, and that's about it.
Play it some.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna have to even during your hibernation period, shall we say? You're still gonna have to play it, because you don't want to risk forgetting any of that.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You definitely got to keep the coals stoked.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
The upkeep on this stuff is unlike anything I've ever had.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It's impossible for me to store certain things in a spot in my brain that's gonna stay forever.
Yep.
Unless I play it all the time.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff up here, so
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Do you play the full album live?
we have.
We did it at our release show.
Okay.
We did it front to back.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind doing that again, but a lot of the times it doesn't seem like the most prudent way to get through a show. And a lot of times we're only getting like half-hour sets and stuff like that too,
Yeah. What is it? Because some of the songs are pretty long, but
Right.
What does it clock out at? Do you know?
43 minutes
Oh,
total.
okay.
Yeah.
It's not that bad as a whole. There's a lot of like interlude stuff.
Yeah.
And as far as what we're playing, it's probably closer to like 40 minutes.
Okay.
The issue is to play this album in the time span that's outlined as it is for everybody to listen to live is, pretty exhausting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, you need like a few minutes in between to take a deep breath. And because we do go song to song sometimes.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that the album itself is in the best order for a live show, though.
Yes.
Okay. So it's in the order for the story, obviously, but not necessarily for the live show. That
Correct.
makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a good vibe to listen to, but it's like awkward to play through in that order, I think. And
Okay. No, that makes sense. Hans Smith in the chat says, "Let the hibernation begin." Yeah, well, I mean that is what a lot of bands do, though. At least in this part of the country, in the winter, focusing on writing and recording.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what am I going to do? Go drive, 5 hours to play for $50 in New York when it's like snowy outside? Like,
Yeah.
hey, it's going to be cold. I'm going to smash my fingers while it's cold. Who wants to do that?
Yeah. That's something I don't miss about. There are things that I miss about playing live, but that's one of the things I don't miss is doing shows in the winter and if the weather's bad and then you don't know, is it going to be canceled? Are you going to get there and find out it's canceled?
Right.
There's a lot that goes with it that can be quite miserable.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Well, we'll begin to wrap up. We'll play. I was thinking we to end the segment, maybe we'll play Corruption.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I like this one a lot.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
So, of course, where should people go to find you online? What's the best place to go? Because if you just Google Questing Beast, a lot comes up. So
if you Google Questing Beast Band, we've got a website up, and we'll have a online store there within the next week.
Oh, excellent.
We just got vinyl in, so we're going to be trying to get rid of that as soon as we possibly can.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can find us on any social media, Facebook, Instagram. You can stream.
Those are the main ones.
Yeah, you can stream our music basically anywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, even Tidal if you want to listen to some high-quality audio.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good.
Shout out to Tidal.
Yeah. Woo.
Yes. And we'll remind everybody, of course, the Hallowed and Haunted Halloween show tonight, and Questing Beast is opening. Doors open at 5. The show goes to midnight, and also with Dead Harrison, the Negans, Able Blood, Horror, and The Gray Curtain. So have a great show tonight.
Thanks.
I'm sure it'll go fantastically.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming in. This has been great.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, I'm definitely a fan. So I really
appreciate it.
really like what you're doing. So.